हरे कृष्णा। हाँ, इस बार थैंक यू। हरे कृष्णा। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। 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 यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन। जमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा गिरिधरी राधे। राधा गिरिधरी राधा गिरिधरी राधे। जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ। जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा। जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ। जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा। जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय। गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय। जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा श्री प्रभुपदा। जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा श्री प्रभुपदा। इत गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल। नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल। हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल। जय श्री राधा कृष्ण लाल भगवान की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। Let us start with the Mangala. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurumlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagan Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagan Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। I will start reading Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita from page where it was left yesterday, and then we will take up today's verse. This is from chapter titled The Land is Yours. Prabhupada concluded his address by asking for land. He wanted to establish a temple for his society in Vrindavan. Afterwards, a Mr. S, a motor part salesman and resident of Vrindavan, offered Prabhupada a plot of land his family had been saving for some worthy religious purpose. Prabhupada smiled. Although he had only just arrived in Vrindavan, already Krishna was providing an opportunity for establishing his ISKCON center. Prabhupada thanked Mr. S for offering this service to Lord Krishna. By his donating land, the Krishna consciousness movement would increase and the donor, Mr. S, would benefit. Prabhupada was aware that behind the formal reception and ceremonial words of Vrindavan's prominent citizens dwelled a deeper feeling of reserve and even suspicion, especially among the caste Goswamis, the proprietors of Vrindavan's major temples. While accepting Srila Prabhupada's foreign disciple as devotee of a sort, many Vrindavan residents nevertheless felt reluctant to accept the foreign Vaishnavas as Brahmanas, sannyasis, and pujaris. This misunderstanding was due to a traditional Hindu concept. Only those born in caste Brahmana families could become Brahmanas. Prabhupada, however, followed exactly in the footsteps of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, who had freely accepted anyone regardless of sex or social position. When in 1932, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati had led more than 1,000 followers in a Vrindavan pilgrimage, certain prideful caste Brahmanas had denied the pilgrims entry into the temples. The pilgrims had been harassed by rock throwers and boycotted by shopkeepers. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati had then met with Brahmanas of Vrindavan and had scripturally proved to them that the soul, being transcendental, was free from designation. and that anyone who became a Vaishnava automatically qualified as a Brahmana. The prejudice, however, had remained. Prabhupada also followed Srila Bhakti Siddhant in denying that the Goswami title could be inherited. Goswami meant one who controlled the senses, and the title could not be adopted simply because one was born in a family of so-called Goswamis. The original Goswami were the six Goswamis of Vrindavan: Shri Sanatan, Shri Rup, Shri Raghunath Bhatt, Shri Jeev, Shri Gopal Bhatt, and Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, all of whom were in the renounced order and were, therefore, without issue. Almost 500 years ago, these six Goswamis had discovered the places of Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes and had built the first big temples in Vrindavan. They had appointed married disciples to carry on the deity service in their temple, and now the descendants of those original priests were claiming exclusive rights as temple Goswamis in Vrindavan. Prabhupada had written in the Nectar of Devotion about his spiritual master's struggle in this matter. After the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya's great associate, Lord Nityanand, a class of priestly Brahmin claimed to be the descendants of Nityanand, calling themselves the Goswami caste. They further claimed that the practice and spreading of devotional service belonged only to their particular class, which was known as Nityanand Vamsha. In this way, they exercised their artificial power for some time until Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the powerful Acharya of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, completely smashed their idea. There was a great hard struggle for some time, but it has turned out successfully, and it is now correctly and practically established the devotional service is not restricted to a particular class of men. Prabhupada therefore opposed the caste Goswamis' idea of birthright, and the caste Goswamis feared Prabhupada's movement since it threatened their inheritary social preeminence. Yet on this occasion of Prabhupada's triumphant return after preaching Vrindavan glories to the Western world, no one protested his attempt to establish a temple. Those who disagreed remained silent or even offered flowery praise. I'll stop it here. And now we'll take up today's verse. But before that, I will just glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. Yam pravarjantam anupetam apeta krityam dvaipayino viraha katara juhava putreti tanmayataya tarvo vinedus tam sarvbhutirjam munimanatosmi Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiv narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirya Shrinatam swakatha Krishna purnesham kirtana yudhyam stvaya bhadrani vidnoti suhit satam नष्प्रायशव भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भक्ति नैष्ठिकी यत्कीर्तनं यत् श्रवणं यदीक्षणं यद्वन्दनं यत्स्मरणं यदर्हणं लोकस्य सद्यो विध्नोति कल्मषं तस्मै सुभद्रशवसे नमो नमः निम्नगानां यथा गंगा देवानां अच्युतो यथा विश्वानां यथा शंभु पुराणानाम इदम तथा सर्वशास्त्राब्धि पीयूषा सर्वैदिक सत्फला सर्व सिद्धांत रत्नाद्या सर्वलोकैक दृक्पदा सर्व भागवत प्राण श्रीमद् भागवत प्रभु कलिध्वांतोदित आदित्य श्री कृष्ण परवर्ती परमानंद पाठाय प्रेम वर्षाय अक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्री कृष्णाय नमस्तुते मद एक बंधु मत संगिन मद गुरो मन महाधन मन निस्तारक मद भाग्य मद आनंद नमस्तुते असाधु साधु तादाइन अति निचोषताकर आना मुंचा कदाचिन माम प्रेमना हितकंठ्यो सुरा यस्य वैश्वमाणायाम कृष्णे परम पुरुषे भक्ति उत्पद्यते पुंसा शोकोपयापः जयतां सुतौ पंगौ मम मन्मतिर्गते मद सर्वस्य पदाम्बोजौ राधा मदन मोहनौ. Now we will read today's verse, which is from Canto 5, chapter 18, verse number 19. Before that, we will pay our respect, our obeisances to Shri Bhagavan Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text number 19. इष्ट्योद्व्रतैस्त्वा ऋषिकेश्वरं स्वतो है आराध्य लोके पतिम आशासाते नयम् तासां न ते वै परिपान्त्य अपत्यं प्रियं धनायुंषि यतो स्वतन्त्रः इष्ट्योव्रतैस्त्वा ऋषिकेश्वरं स्वतो है आराध्य लोके पतिम आशासते नयम् तासां न ते वै परिपान्त्य अपत्यं प्रियं धनायुषं युंषि यतो स्वतन्त्रः इष्ट्योव्रतैस्त्वा ऋषिकेश्वरं स्वतो है आराध्य लोके पतिम आशासते नयम् तासां न ते वै परिपान्त्य अपत्यं प्रियं धनायुंषि यतो स्वतन्त्रः. Word to word translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any Mataji wants to try reciting this verse? You want to try? Anyone wants to try? Or Prabhuji? Oh, yeah, you can. Is Yushiyato Satantraha. Anyone else wants to try? Okay. Word to word translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Word to word translation. Shriya, Istriya, all women. Vratahi, by observing fasting and other vows. Tva, you. Rishi Ishwaram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Master of the senses. Swata, of your own accord. Hai, certainly. Aradhya, worshipping. Loke, in the world. Patim, a husband. Asate, far. Anyam, another. Tasam, of all those women. Na, not. Te, the husband. Vai, indeed. Paripanti, able to protect. Apatyam, the children. Priyam, very dear. Dhan, the wealth. Ayumshi, or the duration of life. Yata, because. Aswatantra, dependent. Translation. My dear Lord, you are certainly the fully independent master of all the senses. Therefore, all women who worship you by strictly observing vows because they wish to acquire a husband to satisfy their senses are surely under illusion. They do not know that such a husband cannot actually give protection to them or their children, nor can he protect their wealth or duration of life. For he himself is dependent on time, fruitive results, and the modes of nature, which are all subordinate to you. Purport. In this verse, Lakshmi, Rama, shows compassion towards women who worship the Lord for the benediction of possessing a good husband. Although such women desire to be happy with children, wealth, a long duration of life, and everything dear to them, they cannot possibly do so. In the material world, a so-called husband is dependent on the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many examples of a woman whose husband, being dependent on the result of his own fruitive actions, cannot maintain his wife, her children, her wealth, or her duration of life. Therefore, actually, the only real husband of all women is Krishna, the supreme husband. Because the gopis were liberated souls, they understood this fact. Therefore, they rejected their material husbands and accepted Krishna as their real husband. Krishna is the real husband not only of the gopis but of every living entity. Everyone should perfectly understand that Krishna is the real husband of all living entities who are described in the Bhagavad Gita as Prakriti, female, not Purusha, male. In Bhagavad Gita 10:12, only Krishna is addressed as Purusha. Param Brahm, Param Dham, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum. You are the supreme Brahman, the ultimate, the supreme abode and purifier, the absolute truth and the eternal divine person. You are the primal God, transcendental and original, and you are the unborn and all pervading beauty. Krishna is the original Purusha, and the living entities are Prakritis. Thus, Krishna is the enjoyer, and all living entities are meant to be enjoyed by him. Therefore, any woman who seeks a material husband for his protection, or any man who desires to become the husband of a woman, is under illusion. To become a husband means to maintain a wife and children nicely by supplying wealth and security. However, a material husband cannot possibly do this, for he is dependent on his karma. Karmana Dev Netrena. His circumstances are determined by the past fruitive activities. Therefore, if one proudly thinks that he can protect his wife, he is under illusion. Krishna is the only husband, and therefore the relationship between a husband and a wife in this material world cannot be absolute. Because we have the desire to marry, Krishna mercifully allows the so-called husband to possess a wife and the wife to possess a so-called husband for mutual satisfaction. In the Upanishad, it is said that Ten Taktan Bhunjita, the Lord provides everyone with his quota. Actually, however, every living entity is Prakriti or female, and Krishna is the only husband. Ekla Ishvara Krishna are sab bhritya, yare yache nachaye, shai tache kare nitya. Krishna is the original master or husband of everyone, and all other living entities having taken the form of so-called husband or wives are dancing according to his desires. A so-called husband may unite with his wife for sense gratification, for his senses are conducted by Rishikesha, the master of senses, who is therefore the actual husband. हुकुम करोति वाचालम पंगुलंगायते गिरं यत् कृपातम अहं वन्दे श्री गुरु दीन तारणम. We will try to understand the background of today's verse. As we know, the title of the chapter of today's verse is The Residents of Jambu Dweep Offer Prayers. In this chapter, there is a description of various varshas. Varshas means tract of land. Srila Shukdev Goswami is first describing the situation of Bhadrashva Varsh. In this tract of land or Varsha, the presiding deity is Hayagriva or Hayashirsha, and the king of that land, Bhadrashava, he is offering prayers to Hayashirsha or Hayagriva Lord, and is glorifying the pastime of the Lord when he brought up Vedas from the Rasatal, lower planetary systems. Now, in the second part, in the next part rather, the worship is being done of Lord Narsimdev, and that tract of land is known as Hari Varsha. In that Varsha, Prahlad Maharaj is offering prayers to Lord Narsimdev. So, on behalf of all present here, I'll repeat that Bij mantra, which is recited by Prahlad Maharaj to Lord Narsimdev. ओम नमो भगवते नरसिंहाय नमस्तेजस्तेजसे आविराविर्भव व्रजनख वज्रदंष्ट कर्माश्यन रंधय रंधय तमोग्रस ग्रस ओम स्वाहा अभ्यम अभ्यम आत्मनि भूयिष्ठा ओम क्षो. This is a prayer offered by Prahlad Maharaj to Lord Narasimha seeking protection. Now, in the next part or next varsha, the worship is offered to Lord Kamdev, who is none other than Pradyumna, Lord Pradyumna, son of Bhagavan Krishna. And the name of the Varsha is Ketumal. So in this Varsha, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, is offering prayer to Lord Kamdev. And in today's verse, Lakshmi Devi is in her prayer saying that a woman, when she wants to get married, she offers prayer to Lord for getting a suitable husband. But then Lakshmi Devi is saying that in that prayer is a kind of not the real one, in the sense that the prospective husband which she is trying to get is under the influence of three factors. One, he is under the mode of material nature. Two, he is also under the influence of time. And three, he is also responsible for his fruitive actions, which means he cannot provide a sustainable happiness or long duration of life. So therefore, Lakshmi Devi ji is saying that one should offer prayer to Krishna and regard Krishna as their permanent husband. We have also seen in our life that sometimes young people, when they get married, the marriage sometimes lasts maybe during the honeymoon period only. Some accident takes place because of the fruitive action of a husband or wife, and the relationship ends there. So that confirms that the husband or wife both are under the influence of uh, these three factors which we have just heard, that is time and fruitive action and mode of material nature. And all these three factors are subordinate to Supreme Lord. So if one thinks that Supreme Lord is his husband or protector, then that is the right way of addressing to Krishna or finding out suitable husband. We also heard in purport, Srila Prabhupada touched about the situation of gopis. Gopis who were eternally liberated souls, they always regarded Krishna as their husband. So today we will find out about the situation of gopis. How did they declare that Krishna is their husband? In the Panchadhyay chapters, Pancha means five, Dhyay means chapter, which are related with Ras dance. In 10th canto, we will look into a couple of verses which are related with today's subject, that how we consider Krishna as our husband for both, for all living beings, for not only male or female, but also for male, because we are to be enjoyed and Krishna is the enjoyer, Purusha. We are Prakritis. But before we go into the subject of Ras dance, we should clearly understand that this Ras dance is between the Supreme Lord and the exalted devotees and his exalted devotees. The first word of the first verse of the first chapter in these five chapters, in which Shukdev Goswami says, Bhagwan api ta ratri, Shardotfull Mallika, Vikshanantu Manaschakre, Yog Mayam Upashrita. The first word is Bhagwan. Srila Shukdev Goswami, who is speaker of this verse, could have used the word Krishna api ta ratrim, but he did not use Krishna, or maybe Govinda, or maybe Rasvihari, or maybe Radha Girdhari. He could have used all these names of Bhagwan, but he used Bhagwan only. Bhagwan api ta ratrihi, uh, which means in the very beginning, Srila Shukdev Goswami is confirming that this topic relates to the Supreme Lord and his exalted devotee. It is not a mundane affair of dance between a young man and young girls. So when we try to read these 5 chapters of Ras dance, or we try to hear, or we try to listen from someone, we should be very careful in understanding, because understanding this topic requires certain amount of purity, and to ensure that we are hearing with a pure mind, Srila Shukdev Goswami is giving us a clear-cut warning that this is affair between Bhagwan and his exalted devotees. So now, when Krishna remembered that he had made a promise to gopis that they will meet and he will fulfill their desires, he uh, played his flute, and by playing his flute, he called all the devotees in the forest in the autumn, in the season of autumn, and when there was um, beautiful fragrant flowers were blossoming, and the night was very cool. That's what the verse says: Bhavan Pita Ratri Shadot Pull Malika Viksharantum Manaschakre Yog Maya Upashita. Yog Maya Upashita. When Krishna saw this beautiful atmosphere, he decided to enact his youthful pastimes with the gopis, and therefore he played flute. And in the flute, he named the gopis to come and be with him. And when Gopi heard the melodious sound of the flute, they all abandoned whatever they were doing. Some of the gopis were dressing, uh, and they were decorating themselves, and some of them were feeding their children, or they were serving their husband, or cooking, or some kind of act they were doing. But when they heard the sound of the flute, they all just gave up whatever they were doing, and they went to Krishna straight away, because there was agitation in their mind caused by Cupid because of the sound of flute. And when the gopis reached in the forest, the Krishna first he said, "Oh, welcome, welcome, you welcome to come here. Swagatam va mahabhage." Krishna said, "You are welcome that you have come." But then he immediately changed the subject. Why have you come in this? Even though he called him, he called them, but he said, "Why have you come in the night, leaving all your husband and children? And this forest is having very ferocious animals. It is not safe for you to have come here." And then Krishna assumed, "Oh, you come to see the beauty of the forest. Okay, well, now you have seen it. Now you can go back." And then Krishna also uh, uh, laid down some moral principles. He said, Krishna said, if a woman leaves her husband and tries to be in the association of her paramour, it is very contemptible. And a woman's first religious principle is that she should serve her husband and children. So Krishna gave this kind of advice, moral advice to gopis. Krishna also said that uh, pure love for me develops not by my physical proximity, But by by hearing about me, by meditating upon my pastimes, and by seeing my deity form in the temple, and uh, and by chanting my glories. Now, this particular advice is also relevant to us because it confirms that the path we are following in our Krishna conscious attempts, that is perfect, as is confirmed by Bhagwan. The verse in this connection is that Shravanad Darshanad Dhyananam Mai Bhavanu Kirtatat Natata Sannikarshena Pratiyatato Graham. The word Sannikarshan is saying that closer proximity is not required, but Shravanad, Darshanat, Dhyananam, these things are good enough to develop love for Krishna. So when gopis heard this kind of advice from Krishna, they became a bit angry with Krishna, and and they also started crying, and in their mixed feeling of anger and crying, they they spoke to Krishna. And in the first verse, there are a few verses. I picked up a couple of them on which I'm going to say a few words. And the first verse which Gopi spoke is like this. Yad patya patya swirdam anuvrittiranga istrinam swadharm iti swadharm vidatva oktam astam eva अस्तम एवं एतद उपदेश पदे त्वईशे श्रेष्ठो भवाम तनुभृताम किल बंधुरात्मा. In this verse, the translation is like this. Gopis are saying, our dear Krishna, as an expert in religion, you have advised that the proper religious duty for the woman is to faithfully serve their husbands, children, and other relatives. We agree that this principle is valid. But actually, this service should be rendered to you. After all, O Lord, you are the dearmost friend of all embodied souls. You are therefore, you are their most intimate relative and indeed their very self. In this verse, gopis are addressing to Krishna that you are Dharam Vidam. You know the principles of religion. And whatever you have said about the dharma or the main duty of a married woman, it is correct. It is valid. We agree on that. But we should also consider who is Upadesh Pade. Upadesh Pade means one who is giving Upadesh, kind of preaching or giving instruction. And then Upadesh Pade also has a meaning, another meaning, that is it also applicable on the person who is giving? For instance, if a spiritual master gives some instruction which he himself does not follow, then the disciples lose faith in the instruction of the spiritual master. So gopis are saying that, yeah, you should also consider that whether this instruction is applicable to you also, who is the actual husband. But before that, gopis are also saying that you are dharam vidam. You are knower or creator of the religious principles. This is also affirmed by Arjuna in 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. When Krishna shows his universal form to Arjuna, Arjuna said, Tamaksharam paramam veditavyam tamasya purushasya param nidhanam tavavaya shashvat dharma gopta sanatanastvam purusho mato me. Arjuna said, you, Tamaksharam, you are infallible Lord. Paramam veditavyam, you are the top object of knowledge. If one wants to know anything about anyone, then you are the top objective. Tamaksharam paramam veditavyam tamasya purushasya param nidhanam. You are the only Purushas. Purushas means enjoyer. And then you are Param Nidhanam. You are the supreme shelter of all living beings. Tam Avaya Shashvat Dharma Gupta. You are inexhaustible. Exhaustibly, you have no limit of anything. Tum Avaya Shashvat Dharma Gupta. That's the word I wanted to confirm what gopis are saying. Dharam Shashvat Dharma Gupta. You are eternal upholder of religious principles. Sanatanastam Purushottam. It is my opinion, Krishna says, sorry, Arjun says, it is my opinion that you are Sanatan, you are eternal. Now, coming back to this verse, when we were discussing about the word Updeshpade, and gopis are saying that you're telling what you're saying is right, that that it is the religious duty of a woman to serve her husband. But we should also find out who is actual husband. The gopis are saying, actually, you are husband of everyone. And here the gopis make very important point. We love our relatives, be it husband or wife or children, as long as that person is alive. When, let's say, a husband loves his wife, but he loves his wife as long as wife is alive. When the soul leaves the body, let's say in this case, if the soul leaves the body of the wife, then husband doesn't like the body of the wife. He loves wife because of the presence of the soul. And soul is a part of the Krishna, as confirmed by Krishna in 15th chapter. Mamai vansho jeev loke jeev bhuta sanatana manashashtani indriyani prakriti sthani kashti. Krishna has claimed that soul is my part. So indirectly, anyone who is having any kind of loving propensity towards any of his relatives, be it wife, children, mother, father, he loves them because of the presence of Krishna. It's now a proven fact that person loves another person, as long as person is having soul. And the difference between a dead body and a live body is the presence of soul. So if soul leaves our body, we don't like to love or make any kind of uh, loveful offering to that body. When the person is dead, we rather try to dispose of the body by cremation or by putting in the graveyard as soon as we can. So it is the presence of the soul which makes the relative dear to another person. And as Krishna has confirmed millions of years before, uh, even though the Bhagavad Gita was spoken 5,000 years before, but in Bhagavad Gita itself, chapter 4, Krishna, second verse says that, evam parampara praptam evam rajesho vidu sa kaline mehta yoga nashta parantava. I spoken the science of Krishna consciousness millions of years before. Now, millions of years before, Krishna said, Jivatma, soul is my part. Mamai vansho jivaloke jivbhuta sanatana. But nobody, no other person has claimed that Jivatma is my part. So Krishna has claimed that he is the original proprietor, if I may say so, or the bigger part of the small part. Then it has to be clearly understood that if we have any kind of affection or love for any of our children or relative, it is because of the presence of Krishna in the body through the medium of our own soul. So in that sense, gopis are saying that we do not love body of a person. We love because of the presence of Atma. So since you are uh, the bigger part of the soul, so actually we love you. And it is not only gopis. if we give a serious consideration, every living being, every person, regardless of his religious belief or system, they all love Krishna because of the simple fact that we love a person because of the presence of soul, and soul is a part of Krishna. So therefore, our love is towards Krishna. So in gopis are confirming that you are the actual husband. Now another way gopis are confirming that you are actual husband is that by the definition of word pati. Pati means husband. And in Sanskrit, pati means pati iti pati, one who maintains. And who maintains us? Is it our father or husband who maintains us? In a way, we can say yes, but another level of thought, we can say no. It is not it is not they who maintain us. For instance, if we carry a bag of $500,000 notes and we go to a barren land, I have seen that barren land in northern India, going towards Leh and Ladakh. There are varieties of hills you come across if you go by road. There are green, lush mountains. There are mountains where a lot of water is flowing, and then there are barren lands. So if we go and live in that land for let's say 10 days, and there is no vegetation there, then the $500,000 will not do anything. Or let's look at it from another angle. Science has made many progress in many fields, but has science developed any kind of food, any item which science can claim that this is created by us? All, yeah, there's no food item which is created by science. It is only the manipulation of the food which is provided by our dear Krishna, which is formed and deformed and presented to us in food form. For instance, if we go to Pack and Save, when we go to the food section, every food item has origin from the food which is provided by land and the five elements. The first Mahabhu. All the food items come from these five energies of Krishna. Actually, my Guru Maharaj says that when we come across any food item or any drinking item, sometimes companies write manufactured by so and so company. But all these for all these food items, the correct print would be to write manufactured by Krishna. It is not manufactured by any company, because if you take out, for instance, if you go and buy a pack of biscuits, and you go back and look at the ingredients, who has provided ingredients? It is Krishna. Whether it is in the form of grains or whether it is in the form of sugar or water or milk, everything comes from Krishna. So the food item is one on which we sustain. So actual pati, because we are talking about gopis confirming that you are our actual pati, our actual husband. So because you maintain us, it is not our actual the material husbands who maintains us. So this is another point which gopis are making. And then we can also understand from another example between the difference between a material husband and our actual husband, Krishna. Let's say that there is a woman who is a very chaste, sati woman. And one day her husband says that I'm going to go to overseas for a few days or few months. And you have to stay alone, you stay back. And wife, on hearing this, she gets very much distressed. And then she says that I'll feel very painful in your absence. So what do? Husband says, okay, take my picture and keep this picture and offer worship to this picture, offer bhoga to this picture, and you in this way you can minimize your painful situations or distress. Woman agrees and she starts actually doing it. But let's say after a week or so, husband returns and he knocks the door. And the woman says, no, wait, I'm just serving my husband in the form of picture. So our situation is like we are a picture husband. And actual husband who was knocking the door, it is Krishna. This is an example I heard from my Guru Maharaj. And last point on this verse is the last word. Preshto bhavam tanu britam kil bandhuratma. Preshto means Sved. Sved. Krishna is Sved to everyone. It's not only to one person, two persons, all living beings. In the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, last verse says, Bhoktaram yag tapsam sarvalok maheshwaram suhrit sarv bhutanam gyatva mam shantim rachati. Suhrit sarv bhutanam. When he was addressing to Krishna, he didn't say that I'm only suhrit to you. I'm suhrit to everyone. And we can also understand from the fact that it's a very nice sunny day. And sun has been given to us by whom? By Krishna. And it is uh, such a powerful source of energy that we cannot live without its heat or without its light. In fact, scripture says that material world is a dark place. If there is no sun, there won't be any light. And the beauty of this sun is that same thing, moon. When I was coming today in the morning in the temple, the moon was so beautiful, so beautiful. I hope some of you saw it. It was very beautiful. Well, it was probably Purnamasi today. Anyway, the moon, sun or moon, and they help in growing our vegetation. Poshnami Sarva, the 15th chapter confirms that the vegetation grows because of the presence of sun and moon. So we have this sun, which is giving us energies from time immemorial and will continue to give us, and without asking for any petrol or any electric energy. It is such a beautiful creation by the Lord, and it is given us because He is very sweet. So, and it also confirms that Krishna is himself the radiance of the sun. In 10th chapter, counting his opulences, Krishna says, Aditya nam aham Vishnu, Jyotish nam RabiAmishuman, Marichir Marutanam Asmi, Nakshatra nam aham Shashi. I am the radiance of the sun, and I am also the among the stars. I am the Shashi, moon. So Krishna is, because he is Suhid and he is not having any expectation. When we were talking about the first word of the first verse of Panchadhyaya Adhyaya, that is Bhagwan Apita Ratri. Bhagwan means what? Bhagwan means one who carries 6 opulences. And among those 6 opulences, one is Vairagya, Aishwarya Smagrasya, Virasya Yashoshriya, Gyan Vairagyas Shananam Iti Tingana. Out of the 6 opulences, one is Vairagya. Right? After giving us everything, he has renounced everything. So a person who gives up everything, he cannot be seen as engaged in mundane sex enjoyment. So because he's a Bhagwan, it is his pastime. So coming back to Gopi's word. So Gopi says that our actual husband is you are our actual husband. So therefore, please do not let us go back. In fact, the verse prior to this Gopis used word Gaditam Nishansam. You don't speak cruel word. And once you first you called us and then now you're saying that we go back. This is cruelty. In fact, acharyas have also further explained to say that Gopi accused Krishna, you don't know how to talk. These cruel words are further translated in saying that Krishna, Gopi is saying, you do not know how to talk. You should know first how to talk in a mood of anger and a little bit prayer. So then they spoke another verse which I'll quickly read and make a quick point because we are almost coming to end. The second verse which I wanted to speak in details, I'll speak briefly now. कुर्वन्ति हि त्वयि रतिं कुशलाः स्वात्मन् नित्यप्रिये पतिसुतां भिर् आर्तिदैहिकीं तन्ना प्रसीद परमेश्वर मासं छिन्दया आशां धितां त्वयि चिराद अरविंद नेत्र. The translation is, expert transcendentalists always direct their affection towards you because they recognize you as their true self and eternal beloved. What use do we have for these husbands, children, and relatives of ours who simply give us trouble? Therefore, O Supreme Controller, grant us your mercy. O Lotus-eyed One, please do not cut down our long-cherished hope of having your to have your association. In this case, gopis are saying, gopis have used the word kushla. Kushla means expert transcendentalist. We have read in Srimad Bhagavatam, personalities like Rajrishi Bharat, Amrish Maharaj, they gave up everything. When they desired to perform bhakti for Krishna, Maharaj Rajrishi gave up his entire kingdom, all his queens and all his children. And the word particular used is like Malvat. Malvat, like in the toilet when we go, we do not try to remember what we did. So similarly, Rajrishi Bharat gave up everything. He had all the opulences to live as a king, but he got attracted towards Krishna. So Krishna can attract people or devotees in various ways. Some get attracted towards his beauty, and that's what the gopis are complaining. What's our fault if we are attracted towards you? And some get attracted towards Krishna's other aspects, like hearing pastimes, glorification of Bhagwan. For instance, Shukdev Goswami, he came out of the womb of his mother after 12 years. And as soon as he came out of his mother's womb, he left for forest. And when he left for forest, his father Vyasdev, who has compiled Bhagavatam, he was worried. He wanted his son to understand and read Srimad Bhagavatam. But Shukdev Goswami, being a worshipper of a Brahman, he did not develop any interest in reading Bhagavatam. But when he heard only 2 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, which were deliberately spoken by the other disciples of Vyasdevji in the forest where Shukdev Goswami was staying, Shukdev Goswami got attracted. And these 2 verses were, one was in relation to Putana. Oh, Bakiyam Swan Kalkutam Jigam Saya Apayad Asadhavi Lebekatim Dhatrivuchitam Tatonyam Kamva Dayalu Sharnam Rajema. In this verse, the boys or the disciples of Vyasdevji, they are saying that who is more merciful than Krishna? When Putana came to kill him, he gave Putana the Sarupa of a mother, the constitution of a mother. He made her as a mother. The one who came to kill her, he made her as mother. So who can be more merciful than him? And when uh, Shukdev Goswami heard the second verse about the beauty of Krishna, he also got attracted. And that verse is Baraha Pidam Natvarvapum Karnayo Karnikaram Vibradavasa Kanak Kapisham Vajantim Chamalam Vandran Venu Randran Adar Sudya Barhapidam Natvarvapu Karnayo Karnikaram Vipradavasa Kanak Kapisham Vajantim Chamalam Nandhan Venur Adar Sudya Puryan Gopa Vrindai Vrindaranyam Sapadaranam Sapravishad Gititiha. When they heard Krishna entering into the forest with his mates, he is wearing Vajanti Mala and his Barhapidam, he is wearing a peacock feather. And when he heard all the beauty of Krishna, he inquired from them, who had taught this and who about whom you are talking about? And they said, oh, we are talking about Krishna. And these verses were written by your father. Oh, written by my father? Oh, okay, I'll come back. And then he read the entire Bhagavatam, 18,000 verses, and he got attracted and he became attracted towards Krishna and he became a devotee of the Krishna. So Krishna has various ways of attracting his devotees. So gopis are complaining that if others can get attracted towards you, what is our fault? Not only high class devotees, but even animals, peacock, cows, they get attracted towards you. What if they get attracted and come closer to you? What is our fault? Why are you sending us back? So let's say Krishna says that, oh, okay, I'm sorry. He didn't say, but I'm just putting it Acharya's word. If he says that, okay, I'm sorry, I can I can accept one or two of you as my wife. Gopi says, nah, you have to accept all of us because you are Parmeshwar. The word here it comes as Tat Prachit Parmeshwar Ma Sam Chindeya. You are Parmeshwar, you are supreme controller. You can do anything and everything. So you accept all of us. So there are more things to talk about, but since time is coming closer, I'll go to the conclusion part now. There are more verses also, but time is limited. And finally, we also hear gopis in the Gopi Geet saying that you should not send us back. Pati Sutan Vayan Bharta Bandhuvan Ati Vilangyate Natyuchutagata Gati Vidastamo Gita Mohita Gitavayoshita Kasatya Nashi. Dear Achyuta, you know very well why we have come here. Who but a cheater like you would abandon young women who come to see him in the middle of the night, enchanted by the loud song of his flute, just to see you? We have completely rejected our husband, children, ancestor, brother, and other relatives. That's the meaning of the verse I have spoken. Now, why I choose to speak on Ras dance or Gopi Vihar or Ras Vihar? It is for the reason that I could have picked up a couple of verses from maybe Kalia's wife or maybe Vaj Patni's case. Uh, but I particularly chose this because in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that Koti Janam Kare Yadi Shravan Kirtan Tabhute na Paye Krishna Pade Prem Dhan. If we keep on chanting for millions of years, the possibility of getting Krishna Prem, which is the main objective of joining ISKCON, we will not get. Then how to get that Krishna Prem? So another verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Vraja loke bhave yahi kare bhajan, shei jan paye vraje vrajendar nandan. We can get the prem of Krishna by following in the footsteps of Vrajvasis. And who is the topmost Vrajvasis? Gopis. So that was the reason that I thought, let me talk about gopis. Okay, I will close it here. And in case someone wants to add anything or comment anything, otherwise we'll say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. अमर पुराण ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।